Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where we talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about Hit Monkey Episode 7, a great episode. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So, things are complicated on the Bryce and Monkey front, because Bryce is asking that priest dude, like, what is it that you, part of me is wondering, like, well, I didn't think about it before, but it's like, you don't think that priest is actually the bad guy? Like, I don't think he is. He is someone that is trying to help Monkey out. But essentially, he's like, he ends up teaching Monkey, like, what salt can be used. And as you know, most, like, stuff will make it so that you can trap or at least keep ghosts away with salt, and it can also be used against demons. And so he's kind of referring to Bryce as a demon. It's like, you've always let him kind of lead, but this is you who has to kind of take charge, but you also have to be careful that you don't end up walking this path alone. So, but it seems being separated from the monkey in that regard of, like, something basically severing their connection makes him sick, even to the point later on it takes him a while to recover, and you even see at one point he starts throwing up his own, like, organs or something. He's like, I hope I didn't need that. But basically, there was an attack at the zoo. Our antagonist, Lady Bullseye, apparently, which we'll get to that in a second, slaughtered every animal. I was like, man, we back to killing all these other monkeys? I think she did that. She was probably torturing all of them, trying to get information about the real monkey. Like, she was trying to find out which one was the monkey she was actually after. At least she got, it doesn't make it any better, but at least she got monkeys that look like Monkey. But he talked about, like, because I was wondering, I was like, oh, that bullseye symbol on her head looked familiar, but it didn't correlate in my head to think, oh, Bullseye. She's Lady Bullseye. I was like, that's a thing? I've always known about Bullseye, but even then I only know Bullseye because of the movie. I swear there's been some animated stuff he's popped up into, like, way in the past, but the Daredevil movie where it's played by Colin Farrell, and then also, like, in the Daredevil series on Netflix in season 3. So those are my only really experiences to care about. I swear, like, I feel like I said, I've seen him in some animated stuff. I've definitely seen, like, comic book, like, versions of him, just not, like, because he's usually wearing a suit. He's not just, like, someone outside of his getup. You know, I mean, it's comics, so comics usually have everyone in a costume, but obviously TV shows and the MCU doesn't steer towards 100% comic book accurate costumes and stuff like that, you know, so. But, I wonder what's her, I have to look into it later. I'm curious what her relationship is to Bullseye. Curiosity got the best of me, so I really quickly did a tiny bit of Googling. I read like one paragraph of sentences, but it was really interesting. So I was wondering, it's like, she's not related to Bullseye, she was inspired by Bullseye, at least comic book wise. She saw him killing some people, she's like, oh man, that's tight. She's also associated with the Hand. Apparently her alter ego, her real self, is a lawyer, so because she's a Daredevil villain, which is interesting because obviously, like, we got our Kingpin reference like a episode or two ago, and so the fact is that she's in that world too, like, yeah, she's a Daredevil villain, which Bullseye actually is a Daredevil villain, because they're both all the ties to the Hand and stuff like that, but she opposes Matt Murdock in court, so not only is she an arch enemy to Daredevil, but also an arch enemy to Matt Murdock as well. I'm like, that's so interesting. But I found that fascinating. Like, I mean, there's a lot more to it. I'd read too, like, she doesn't have any actual superpowers. She's just, like, really skilled in a whole bunch of different martial arts. So, but that was just me reading, like I said, the tiniest bit. I was just curious, like, about her circumstances. But it seems like Bryce knows exactly who she is. He's like, yeah, there's two things I've ever been scared of in this world. Ghosts, which, ironic, because I am one now, and Lady Bullseye. She kills people if she's in a bad mood. Hell, even when she's in a good mood, and we saw that last episode, she, like, killed 4 people just because they annoyed, inconvenienced, or pissed her off. I mean, hell, the guy was like, I guess, like, maybe he was a dick, like, oh, how dare you offer to have sex with me and I decide to, or it's, because it seems like her thing is also she gets off on torturing people. That's kind of her thing, too, so maybe it's like, oh, he wanted sex, it's like, oh, but I'm just going to torture you for fun, so I guess that was a kill where she was in a good mood, maybe, potentially. But the sad thing is, at the same time this is all happening, Akiko gets fired from Shinji's campaign. I love the whole, like, in Shinji we trust, not in Shinji we thrust. Yes, I'm pretty sure the sign said thrust. But basically, the donors want to back out because of her. Like, calling Ozu out is one thing, but to support the murdering monkey, that's another thing too. So now she ends up getting fire from the campaign, because he's like, right, that monkey might have saved yours in my life, but who's to say he wasn't there to kill you? I mean, he had a gun, and it's like, the fact of the matter is, just like the ones that killed Ken, and it's like, the fact is he could have, because Japan's like, I mean, in general, Japan's not like once again, I could be mistaken, but I think Japan's not big on guns in general. I think Australia isn't either. I know, at least when it comes to police officers, I don't think the UK. I think police officer wise, Japan's not big into guns, but I think Australia in general is not big into guns. I don't think Japan as a whole is big into guns. Which isn't to say, but it's like I think the US is a lot more gun. It's a debate, sure, but I think overall, maybe majority-wise, even if it's something like 51 to 49, I feel like majority-wise, America's a little more, as a whole, maybe more. I mean, we do have like the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, so it's like we're a little more okay with firearms, even if, you know, various people might have their varying degrees of how they feel about firearms, whether you're totally against them or whether just, you know, your stance on them is your stance. I'm not here to judge anybody by their stance on the whole conversation, but I'm just saying, like, I feel like the U.S. in general is a little more pro-gun than maybe other areas in the world, you know? I mean, it's just, it is what it is. Like, I'm not trying to say that's a negative or a positive, I'm just saying, like, it is what it is. So it just kind of got me thinking about, like, right, like, because the fact is they keep bringing that up, and I think that's probably that would be a topic of conversation in Japan, like, monkey going around shooting. I mean, other people, but it's like Yakuza, and like, we're talking like gangsters, so like that criminal side of things, kind of, you know, but Bryce has got Monkey, like, getting locked and loaded, pulling out the grenades, getting the sword ready, getting all the guns locked and loaded, shotguns and everything. And it's like, yeah, like, but Bryce was like, yeah, this, that guy, Lady Bullseye, she's going to come after everyone. She's going to kill Akiko, even the cat. And the cat's like, oh, I'm ready. But obviously when Akiko gets there, she's not too happy about seeing the monkey, especially with all these guns. And he's trying to explain things, but she's like, I don't understand. You just leave. Like, it's more like, it put things in perspective for her because she lost her job because, like, right, she's in this position because she sided with him. It's like, yeah, once again, it's like, does she like you or does she like you because of what you do? Like, you're wiping out bad guys, but then it's also like the complication of a vigilante of, like, right, you act outside of the law, because it's like, yeah, you might be taking out bad people, but you still are murdering people, you know? It's like he's on his Punisher, you know? He's in his Punisher lane of things, you know? But at the same time, Ito and Haruka are on their way to Akiko's place because the food that the monkeys eat, they eat the fruit and then they take a bite and throw it away. And she remembers seeing the same thing at Akiko's place. So they roll up. But Ito was saying, like, we should take it slow. Just then, Lady Bullseye shows up and blows up Akiko's place. And Bryce is like, no, we got to get out of here because the longer we stay here, Akiko and everyone's in danger. But, you know, because of what the monk said, he's not listening to Bryce and making his own choices. It's actually a really action-packed sequence of, like, you know, her using her things to, like, pin him against the wall, and it's like, oh, like, I'm going to enjoy this. Haruka tried to stand up to her, but Ito took the needle or hairpin or whatever it is she threw, and it seemed like it pierced his chest, I'm assuming his heart. He sacrificed himself for her, despite their disagreements and everything before now, but... And the monkey leads her away, but in this chase, like, no matter, you know what, I think it's pretty dope. Like, her breaking glass and the monkey jumping out the window, shooting the glass, and some of the sharks come back and cut her. She's not too happy about that because I wondered if she also, like, she has her, because later on some guy touches her trying to help her up and she's like, don't touch me. So I'm like, does she have a general, like not wanting anyone to touch her? Even the fact is, because at one point, like, she breaks the glass from a car just to get ammunition, but it almost seemed like she saw her own reflection. I was like, oh, like, does she have, like, is it because she saw the scar on her face? Because she's definitely once again, DC reference, no Victor Zsasz, who would just, like, I mean, to be fair, his scar's representative of the people he's killed, but, you know, it's a little different, so it's not like he's, I mean, to be fair, like, getting a cut aside from, like, you making it yourself because of a kill set him off, but the point I was trying to make is it seemed like seeing her own reflection, like, pissed her off. It upset her. But, like I said, I enjoyed that entire sequence. But like I said, even Bryce is like, I'm not understanding, like, you're not even listening to me. You're not, you know, we usually have a relationship of, like, yeah, I tell you what to do and you kind of do it. But now, once again, what the monk said and with everything going on, it's like, I know it sucked to leave Akiko behind, but it's like, no, you need it to, because that lady's going to kill everyone in her path. So us getting away from Akiko right now, it's the best thing. And so that leads to the whole, like, highway sequence when she's on her bike and everything. Poor bastard, like, she threw something through, like, the train, and it, like, It was like, it might have been a pitchfork or something, and it stabbed a dude into the train. I'm like, yeah, the train operator stopped. They're on the highway, because it's like, let's run away from her, but he's running towards, like, getting it. And that dude, what was his, Monzo? Oh, that poor bastard. Like I said, he's going to be, it's a darker version of the cabbage guy from Avatar. It's like, my cabbages. It's like, oh, his is just, let me die. Because he's like, got a job delivering balloons to a, it's like, oh, you're supposed to be there 2 hours ago. He's like, oh, thank you for giving me this opportunity. It's like, I don't care, just get it done. And he's like, oh, like, this is going to be my day. And then a vehicle flips and lands on top. I was like, oh, you poor bastard. He is mangled. And he's like, oh, please let me die. And the EMT is just like, no, not today, buddy. I was like, oh, that's so effed up and so dark. Once again, those exchanges, him being in the air, shooting her tire just as she pierces him. But I thought it was sweet when Bryce was like, come on, monkey. Like, he's like, I know I'm not, or don't always treat you right, but you are the closest thing I have to a friend right now. He's like, please just don't leave me all alone. I was like, oh, like, you have moments of being a human. And once again, like, everything is a defense mechanism, like how he's just kind of like talks mad shit and he makes all these like crude jokes. It's like, yeah, it's all to hide his own fear, his concern about things. But the monkey came back. He's like, hey, monkey, you're okay. It's like, Akiko, so you didn't hear all that, heartwarming? Okay, probably would have been better if the monkey had heard all that, but he wants to go check on Akiko because she was found underneath all the rubble, and Ito gets taken to the hospital, but he doesn't make it. And then we find out who his partner was. His partner is their captain, and it's like, I guess I should have. I knew he'd be in a higher position, but I thought it'd be someone even higher than that. But it's like, right, like, you're the person that always gave him so much guff, and he took the fall for you. That's why he's always kind of like, oh, Ito's not too bad. Yeah, but it's like, you're one of the people that gives him. I kind of think what pissed Haruka off is like, yeah, here are all of you bowing your heads like, oh, and remorse about what happened, but you assholes never treated him right. You all treat him like shit. And she goes by Akiko's, and she goes right and clenches her fist. So I don't know if she still holds resentment against Akiko, because like, none of this would have happened if you hadn't been harboring the monkey. I don't know if it's that, or was it just a reminder of like, right, I have to, she wants to get justice for her partner. Because like, Lady Bullseye is well alive. The explosion didn't stop her. She's alive and well, so. But going to visit Akiko, the monkey sneaks in there, Luckily, she's okay. She asked her uncle to, like, rehire. He's like, you have to get a pay cut. She's like, I was getting paid. She's like, and because he was asking, like, please just tell me what to do. He's like, the last time I was in this hospital was when your parents, when I had to watch your parents. He's like, I was told to protect you. Please, like, tell me how to fix this, So Akiko's okay, and the monkey placing the Band-Aid on her. And then even Bryce saying this line, he was like, right, if I had known what killing Ken would have done, that it would have led to all this death, I probably wouldn't have taken that job. But then the monkey starts thinking about everything, all the death all around. The monkeys that were killed in the zoo today, probably like the people from his people before too, and just like the people he's killed, like everything that's been a byproduct of Bryce. It's like, if it wasn't for you, none of this would happen. And in his mind, Bryce morphs into a demon. And once again, Bryce is trying to make a joke, but he's also like, yeah, I don't like hospitals. Like, that smell on the smell and everything. And so the monkey got fed up because he's like, no, like, I'm not going to spend any more time with you. So he goes to like a bathroom of like a restaurant, like it could have been like a McDonald's or something, and he puts salt in a circle and leaves Bryce in the bathroom. He's like, you're a demon. He's like, no, I'm not a demon. He's like, I'm sorry, like, please don't leave me here, buddy. And you can hear him throwing up, because like, the further he's away from the more that connection is severed, the more messed up it's going to make. Probably because he'd even told the monkey, he's like, when I told you, like, I saw a light, he's like, I didn't, I saw nothing. That's the other thing about death. Like, a lot of stuff will depict that, like, death, there is no like bright life, there's no like afterlife, there's nothing, it's just darkness. It's kind of the more pessimistic view. It's like, you wanted to believe there to be some light, that to be an afterlife or something, whether it's a heaven that you get in Supernatural, whether it's the heaven that existed always in Supernatural, or even just the way heaven is now at the end of Supernatural. I've watched a few things that have kind of talked about that perspective of like, oh yeah, the afterlife, like, death is just, no, like, everything goes dark, you're just floating in dark. But he's like, yeah, I saw an image of you, and he was just like, I reached out to you. So that's why he was calling back to the monkey, because it's like, right, you brought me back from the darkness. You were my, like, reach out from the darkness, and I'm here now. Yeah, I talk about wanting to move on to peace, but it's like, right, you are my only friend, because he's never really connected with people before now. The irony is that, like, yeah, it took you dying and befriending the monkey you're attached to for you to become more human. You were already on your way there to some extent, but, yeah. It is sad when you actually think about, like, right, how much chaos ensued because of one hit. Killing Ken set all of this in motion. To be fair, a lot of this stuff was already, like, a lot of, like, this evil was already happening behind the scenes. It's just the monkeys added to, like, the catastrophe and the chaos that has consumed Tokyo, because he's added to the death toll. You know, it's like, yeah, he might be getting rid of bad people, but it's like, no, like, all the death I've, like, caused and been a part of, you know, all the people that have died as a byproduct of my actions as well. So, but it all stems from Bryce, you know? So, and you kind of feel bad. It's kind of like, wow, that kind of sucks. I mean, but I think this is kind of like your typical low point for the hero in their story. And so the monkey leaves to go back to the mountain because it's like, I'm not going to stay here. Like, there's nothing keeping me here. Like, what's the point? Like, I'm just going to cause more death and destruction. I just need to, you know, and I think this was what the monk was, like, warning him about, like, right, leading the charge, but not be in a position to walk that path alone. And by the time he gets back to the mountains, he sees that he sees all the monkeys there. So it's like, I doubt his family's not back, because at first I expected him to disappear because I thought it was like a hallucination, but it's like, I guess other monkeys moved into the territory, so like another tribe of monkeys came here and are staying here now and populating it. So will the monkey be able to go back to some form of a normal life and be amongst them? I doubt it'll be that easy, because just everything that's going down, I don't think it's going to be possible. But it's definitely going to be interesting to see where the next episode ends up taking us going forward with all of this. But really, especially considering, like, really quickly, like, once again, Lady Bullseye isn't dead, so she's still going to be tracking down the monkey regardless. So that's not over. She will, and eventually if she shows up there and you're surrounded by all these people, she will kill them again. If not, she'll go after Akiko just to make sure that she's able to get you. So, like I said, we'll see how that all plays out in the next episode. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. So the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day, and goodbye.